Hey guys, it's Mrs. Schmotzer here with another episode of Get Lit with Mrs. Schmotzer. And today I'm going to tell you about a book called Things You Can't Say by Jenn Bishop. This was a 2022 South Carolina Junior Book Award nominee. And I'll be honest, it was a little slow for me as it started, but it really picked up and it really was a fantastic book. There are a lot of conflicts going on in this book. I would say there's like 4 different conflicts. The first conflict is a kind of a minor conflict with his job at the library. This kid's name is Drew, and he volunteers in the library, and he does like puppet shows and things like that for kids. And then a new girl moves into town and kind of invades his space. Then he has a conflict with his best friend, Philippe, and that's really over another friend who he thinks cooler than him coming in. Then he has some conflicts with his mom. She doesn't really seem to understand him, and she invites a new person into the house. And probably the biggest conflict of all is the fact that Drew's dad has died. And so obviously that's why he's a little skeptical about this new man that shows up at their house. So I'm going to read you just a little bit from chapter 11, which talks about the first time he meets um, his mom's friend. And it starts out, he has no right, none at all, to come into our house and act like he knows everything. What does he think he's doing, anyway, coming all the way out here from Colorado? Does he think he's got some magical solution to fix my family, fix me, that he's got it all figured out? But he doesn't. My ears get hot, and before I can manage to say any of that to him, I'm darting across the patio and slamming the sliding glass door behind me. The glass rattles so hard, I think for a second it might fall out of the door and shatter into a million pieces. It doesn't, but it should. My heart, which was beating so hard for the past 10 minutes, is now constricting, banging around in there, the empty cage of my ribs. So Drew has some issues, and he's trying to deal with them, but he's trying to do it on his own. So I think a lot of the message for this book, the theme of this book, is really when you're faced with difficult situations, you don't have to go them alone. You can actually seek out help. And another theme is also, I think, as you're a kid, you're not who your parents are. I think you'll find out very early on in this book that Drew's dad has a mental illness that Drew doesn't know about because they tried to hide it from him, and he ends up killing himself, and that's how he died. And so Drew feels like he has this mental illness part inside him, and so it's about him trying to really figure out who he is and kind of really where he belongs. So even though this does have kind of obviously a tragic basis for this book, it is a really good book about growing up, dealing with relationships, communication with people, and honestly, in this world, mental illness is a real thing that we all need to be aware of, and we all need to do what we can to help those in need. I hope you guys enjoy this book. Stay tuned for my next book, hopefully in another week.